Hello everyone. Today we're going to have similarity. This is the first part. I will put the link of the video of the second part in the description box below. So similarity, it comes from the word similar. So when we say that two figures are similar, if they have the same shape but not necessarily the same size. So the other one can be like a big version of the small, the other one could be a small version. Okay, so before we move on to solving for x on this similar figures here, we have to remember that every similar figures will have corresponding parts. So these corresponding parts are very important because when we solve problems in similarity, we will be looking at corresponding parts. So we are not going to randomly pair them up. So 10, the corresponding part of 10 is 60. So these two are corresponding sides. These two are corresponding sides. And the x and 30 are corresponding sides. So if we look at 9, we don't randomly pick numbers over here. 9 corresponds to 54. Again, they are corresponding parts, and these parts are proportional. Okay, so in this problem right here, we're given two pictures. So we are supposed to solve for x. We first find the scale factor. Scale factor is the number that you multiply to the first one to come up with the second. So if this is 10, what number was multiplied to 10 to make it a 60? Good, it is 6. So multiply this by 6. So 10 times 6 is 60. So, and then we multiply this by 6. 9 times 6 is 54. And x times 6 is 30. So we are supposed to solve for x. Again, the scale factor here was 6. So scale factor is the number that we multiply to the first one to get the second one in to get these corresponding parts here. So we are going to solve for x. I'm going to show you different ways to solve for x on this. You can use any of the method, it doesn't matter. So let's take the first method here. So we already know that 10 times 6 is 60, and so we can go ahead and say x times 6 or 6x is equal to 30. So then we can set up the equation as 6x equals 30. Again, 10 times 6 equals 60, 9 times 6 equals 54, 6 times x equals 30. From here, we can divide both sides by 6. I'm going to divide this by 6. I will divide this by 6. I cross the 6 out. So I'm left with x is equal to, we divide 30 divided by 6 is 5. And that makes sense because if we multiply 6 times 5 is 30. 9 times 6 is 54. 10 times 6 is 60. Now let's have the second method. So the second method is using the corresponding parts. Again, I'm just showing you all the possible ways of doing it. When we have a quiz and test, you can only pick one method. So let's take this the second way to do it. We can partner up the corresponding parts. So the corresponding parts would be 10 and 60. So I can make a fraction out of it. So first over the second. So what did I do? 10 over 6. First over the second is equal to first over the second, x over 30. So again, what did I do? First over the second corresponding parts, 10 over 60. First over the second, x over 30. From here, we can cross multiply this. So that would be 60 times x and 30 times 10. So we can set that up. So that would be 60 times x is equal to 10 times 30. So 60 times x is 60x equals 300. We divide both sides by 60. So I divide that by 60 right here. I divide this by 60. I cross the 60 out. So 300 divided by 60, x is 5. So you see, we get the same value for x. You can use any of these methods. We can also, others are going to say, is there another way to do that? What about the 9 and 54? Can we also use that and get the same answer? Yes. So let's set up the other equation using 9 and 54. So first is 9 over the second is 54. Again, do not pair up other numbers besides 9 and 54 because these are corresponding sides. And then that would be equal to x over 30. And then from here, we are going to cross multiply these two and cross multiply these two. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over this. So 54 times x is 54x. And then we have 30 times 9 is 270. We divide both sides by 54. So divide this by 54, divide this by 54. So we cross the 54 out and we are left with x is equal to 5. Again, you can use any of this method. They are all correct. Now let's take the next problem right here. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over this. What is our scale factor? So from 14 to 56, from 10 to 40. So our scale factor is 4. So 14 times 4 is 56. 10 times 4 is 40. 14 times 4 is 56. So we got 3 times 4 is x. So we can actually solve that from there. But then we can go ahead and pair up. So again, pair up the parts. So that is, I can use any of these as partners and then partner it up with 3 over x. So first over second. So let's take 14 over 56, which is the partner. So first over the second equals first over the second, which is x. So again, I'd like to repeat. First over second, first over second. So that's how I came up with these fractions over there. So we cross multiply these numbers right here. So we're supposed to get 14 times x. So 14 times x equals 56 times 3. So that's 56 times 3. So this came out 14x equals 156 times 3 is 168. So divide both sides by 14. Divide this by 14. Divide this by 14. So we should be left with x is equal to 12. So x is equal to 12. You can try the other combination that we have here. We can use the 10 over 40 equals 3 over x. So that is 10 over 40 equals 3 over x. Again, first over second, first over second. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over this. We're going to cross multiply these two here. So that would give us 10 times x is 10x. And then that this is 40 times 3 is 120. We divide both sides by 10. So I divide this by 10. I divide this by 10. So then the x here is 12. And we get the same answer as this. Did you get the same answer as this? Good. Perfect. Now let's have the last example right here. So what happens if they are expressions now? They are not numbers, but instead they are expressions. So we first find the scale factor from 2 going to 8. So what number was multiplied to 2? Good. So the scale factor is 4. So then to do this, we are going to pair them up. Corresponding parts, first over second. So that would be 2 over 8 is equal to first over second, which is 2x plus 10. 10 over negative 6x minus 2. And then we do the same thing. We're going to cross multiply these two and cross multiply these two. So let's see what that is. So that would be 2 parentheses negative 6x minus 2 equals 8 parentheses 2x plus 10. And then we are going to use the distributive property to this and distribute the 2 to both terms inside the parentheses. So this should come out to be negative 12x minus 4 is equal to 16x plus 80. Okay, so we got this equation right here. So we are going to solve for x. So I can add 12x to both sides. So plus 12x here. So I add 12x to both sides. So this would come out negative 4 equals, this is 28x plus 80. And then I subtract 80 from both sides. So minus 80 and minus 80. So I get 28x. So I cross this out. So I get 28x is equal to negative 84. And so I divide both sides by 28. Divide this by 28. And so I cross the 28 out. I am left with x is equal to negative 3. So that's the x right there. And we can check if these two are multiplied by 4. So again, the scale factor is 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. Now let's plug in the negative 3 here. So 2 times negative 3 plus 10. So that is negative 6 plus 10 is 4. So this side right here is 4. So this side is 4. And then let's look at the other side right here. So that would be negative 6 times negative 3 minus 2. So this is positive 18 minus 2 is 16. So this is 16 right here. Now, if we multiply this by 4, which is our scale factor, do we get 16 over here? Yes. And so our x is negative 3. If you find this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!